So you strained your back, which sucks. I know that from personal experience, and I'm sure you want some relief immediately, which is why you're watching the video. So we're gonna get right into it. But first, I want to highlight something that is crucial to your back feeling better and to maximizing the benefit of doing these exercises we're about to do, and that's breathing. I know, pretty straightforward, but if you think about it, what happens to your breathing when you hurt your back? It tightens up, right? Whenever you move or even when you're sitting there. And so what we need to do is through deep breaths through your belly, we're giving the brain positive inputs and we're essentially telling the brain, hey, it's okay, relax. And so what I don't want you to see in this video is just a bunch of repetitions you're busting out. This is slow, this is methodical. We're going to be just holding positions and taking deep breaths in our belly, allowing our rib cage to expand, because that's the key to letting your back relax, okay? So you never wanna do these exercises without emphasizing the breathing. So all you're gonna need for this circuit is the floor and a chair. The first thing we're gonna do is just lay on your back. So just however you can, pain-free, lay on your back. And all we're gonna do from here is just take some deep breaths. This is one, gonna get the back to relax a little bit, but also help you understand what it feels like to let your rib cage expand. So what I want you to do is breathe into your belly and then your chest. So it goes belly, then chest. Breathe into your belly. And as you're doing that, try to feel your rib cage pushing down into the floor as you inhale. If this movement or any of the other movements feels really good, you want to spend more time doing it, feel free to pause the video. Breathe into the belly. Okay, we're gonna do one more. And if you notice that every time you inhale, you're breathing into your chest first and your shoulders are rising, you're gonna wanna practice this one more and really breathe into the belly and establish that. All right, next, take your time, but we're gonna roll onto the side. And obviously, just so you don't tweak your back more, take your time. Okay, so you're gonna roll onto your side. And now from here, all we're gonna do is just reach as far as you can without causing more pain. So if you're really tight, that may not be very far. This is called the open book. And then all we're gonna do from here is, again, take about 5 deep, slow belly breaths. Like I said on the previous exercise, feel free to take more than 5 breaths. Okay, one more breath. Nice. And then this whole time as we're transitioning, we're just moving like a sloth, nice and slow. So moving to the other side. Okay, you're just gonna reach. But again, you're not trying to crank on your back. We're not trying to make it grumpier than it already is. Just let your arm fall and then take breaths from there. And what you'll likely notice is every time you exhale, you get more range of motion. And that's very tangibly evidence of what I was talking about at the beginning of the video. With each quality breath, your body relaxes. Okay, so now we're just going to return to that first position, but this time your feet are going to be up. Okay, now we're going to very slowly cross the leg. If your hips are really tight, you can extend your legs out in front of you a little bit just so it's a little easier to cross your leg. Now from there, find your comfortable position. You're just going to let this foot of the crossed leg go towards the floor. It doesn't have to go all the way to the floor. Obviously, if you're really tight, that's probably not going to happen. But you just let it relax. Okay? And what you're going to feel is a stretch through your butt up into your lower back. Once you find that position, if this is easy for you to get to the floor and you want to add a little more, you can very gently pull your knee towards your chest and you'll feel more of a stretch. Don't worry about doing that if your back is really hot though, okay? Only if you feel like you can. And now from there, whatever position you find you can comfortably relax into, same thing, 5 deep breaths into the belly. Breathing into the belly first, let the rib cage expand. Nice slow exhales. One more. Okay, now from here, arguably the safest way to come out of this is to just uncross your leg, sweep it along the floor, and then bring your feet back up. Because if you try to come back up like this and your back is really hot, you can definitely re-aggravate it. So I recommend sweeping the leg. Same thing, cross the other leg. You may notice a difference side to side if you haven't already in exercises like the open book. One side's a little tighter, that's okay. Just again, find a position you can relax into. All right, so now again, breathing into the belly first, 5 deep breaths. Last one. Okay, now again, uncross the leg very slowly and sweep it across the floor. Okay, we have one more exercise on the floor, and then we have 2 standing up, and then we have one more that's optional. So we're almost there. All right, now this one we're going to want to get on the hands and knees. So very slowly roll to your side. Okay, if you were pregnant, you understand this, how to get up from here. You're going to push yourself up. Okay, and then we're just going to very slowly get on the hands and knees. Okay, and we're going to do some cat-cows, some breathing and some cat-cows. So your hips are right above your knees, shoulders are right above the wrists. Now from here, we're going to very slowly push the back towards the ceiling, push the hips forward, think about tucking the tail, and then tuck the chin. Okay, now from here, we're going to take one really big, slow, deep breath. Now from here, we're going to do the opposite. We're going to stick the butt out, push the torso towards the floor, and then look up. This one's going to be a little harder to breathe into just because your belly is stretched out, but we're still going to take a deep breath. That's 1 rep. We're going to do 5 of these, okay? So again, curling back up. Deep breath. And extend. Deep breath. Curl back up, 3 more reps. Only going into positions that you can relax into. You're not trying to aggravate your back more. Okay. Okay, we're gonna flex one more time. As always, if you feel like you want to do more repetitions here, go ahead. Extend one more time. Okay, so now we have a couple of exercises we're gonna do using the chair. Okay, had to adjust the camera a little bit. So you're just gonna have a seat. I'm actually gonna show you from a 3/4 angle here. We're gonna cross our leg just like we're sitting in a chair, okay? This is gonna be a stretch, kind of similar to the one where we cross our leg on the floor. So this is for a stretch for the glute and the lower back. It feels amazing. So after you cross your leg, you may already feel a stretch and you may not need to lean forward, but if you don't feel much of a stretch, we're gonna think nice tall spine, and then you just lean forward, keeping your back flat until you feel a stretch in your glute. And then from here, you guessed it, 5 deep breaths. Don't force more stretching, but if you can go a little deeper, go ahead. And again, you're just trying to feel that all throughout the glute and maybe even a little bit in the lower back. Two more breaths. Last one. Okay, very slowly coming up. Again, we're moving like a sloth. Very slowly uncross the leg. Very slowly cross the other leg. Okay, nice tall spine. If you feel like you can get more of a stretch, do it, but again, don't force it. Okay, and then once you feel a good stretch in that butt, take 5 deep breaths. Again, don't force more range of motion, but if you feel like you can get more of a stretch, do it. Keeping that back nice and flat. And 5. Okay. All right, almost there. So now we're going to stand up. We're going to do what's called the elephant walk. Now, if your back is really tight, which it probably is, and that's why you're watching this video, you're going to want to use the chair for support. The lower your hands are, the more of a stretch this places on your hamstrings and your lower back. So if this is an easy position for you, feel free to find a step stool, a yoga block, something a little lower. But we're going to start here. And all we're going to do with your feet about hip width apart is we're going to bend both knees, and then you're going to just straighten one out and flex your quad, okay? And what you should feel is a stretch through your hamstrings and low back. You hold it for a couple seconds and then release, and then do the other side. Hold it for a couple seconds and release. So we're just going for a stretch in the hamstrings and the lower back. We're going to do 20 of them total, okay? So this is 4. Still make sure you're breathing and staying relaxed, but you don't necessarily have to take a breath with every single rep. Just make sure you're breathing normally and not tightening up as you're doing this exercise. That's 6, 7. You can go a little lower if you can, but again, we're not trying to force more range of motion here. You want to make sure that however low you are, you can still straighten your knee and flex your quad. And don't force it. You want to be able to relax into this position. That's 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Feel free to hold each rep for a few extra seconds. Take that deep breath if you feel like you need to. 18, 19, and 20. Okay, so this last exercise is optional. And honestly, if your back is really tight, this one may not be doable. So you don't have to do this one. But if you can, and honestly, whether you can do it right now or not, as your back relaxes, you want to start doing this. And this is the resting squat, okay? So you can hold on to something like the chair, take your normal squat stance, all right? And then we're just gonna sit down in the squat, however low you can go. And same thing, we're gonna take 5 deep breaths. This is really good decompression for the lumbar spine, the lower back. And this is the resting squat, so you can let your back round out as you breathe. That's 3. 4. 5. And then if you need to, obviously you can use the chair for a little bit of help. Okay, that's it. Good job. I hope that you at least found a little bit of relief. Now, as far as a prescription, I want you to do this at least 2 to 3 days a week. You want to let pain be your guide though. If any of these exercises or the amount that you're doing is making your back worse, then you're either going to need to make sure that you're not doing too deep of stretches, or maybe you need to reduce the frequency for now. But I'll tell you this, when you go to Google, it's going to tell you just to ice and rest. And obviously by resting, you don't want to be doing a bunch of deadlifts and things that work your lower back, but just to do nothing is actually going to make it stiffen up worse. So initially, if you need to rest, that's fine, but don't just ice. In fact, I would recommend movement over ice in 9.5 out of 10 cases of any kind of injury, okay? So make sure that you're doing this at least 2 to 3 days a week. You could do it daily. You could do it multiple days a week. If any of the exercises felt better than others, you don't have to do this whole routine every time, but you can just pull those exercises out and do those. And over time, you will notice your recovery window get a lot shorter and you'll be back to full form, okay? So reach out if you have any questions, comment below if you have any questions, I'll answer them. And thanks so much for watching.